Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB Zack Brown. Joining with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. Dad, a lot to go over from Daytona all the way into dirt racing, a lot to preview. We are in the season finale, the regular season finale for the NASCAR Cup Series. Xfinity Series are also at Darlington, so a lot to preview there. The Lady in Black, too tough to tame. I've been there, really cool track. As a metaphor because it's going to be hot, but it's a fun race. Southern 500, one of the crown jewels of NASCAR. See which drivers can check that off of their career resume, and we'll go over some power rankings. Got a little bit of trivia all the way. NHRA is back, IndyCar is back, and they have a back-to-back weekend. And they'll be left with one race left. So they are closing in, or one or two races left. They're closing into the final stretch. So a lot to look at. So let's talk about Daytona real quick. What an upset it was with Harrison Burton getting the win. We did say that watch out for the Wood brothers because that could be a car. They are traditionally great at super speedway racing. And that was actually really cool to see Jeff Burton, his dad, obviously, in the booth. And I don't think Jeff could say, he had no idea what to say after Harrison won. He was as shocked as everybody. And he, of course, got a big push from Parker Retzlaff. And apparently Parker's catching a bunch of crap because he helped a Ford win. He's like, I was trying to get a win. I'm like, who is trying to... Last lap, I don't care what manufacturer you are.
Right.
Screw that. Nah, that is the dumbest thing. And Kyle Busch gets second, came up just short. He probably could have right hooked Harrison if he wanted to, but I think Kyle kind of learned what Austin Dillon did, and it wasn't going to do it. And we go on that speed. I think even Kyle Busch is smarter than I'm not going to crash somebody 200 miles an hour going across start finish line. And Harrison was full of emotions because he's like, I got fired from this job. And all of a sudden, he gets a win. He's locked in the playoffs. He's dead last in points, but I mean, he's not going to go anywhere in the playoffs. But I mean, at least he
it's the
possibly
rules.
gets him a chance to get a ride next year.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's it's in the rules. That's how it goes. But it's yeah, like we said, the Wood Brothers car is always good there. He stayed out of trouble. And he was right where he needed to be at the end. Was it luck? Yeah, probably. But it's a shame. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever say this, but I was kind of rooting for Kyle Busch. But it was cool to see somebody else win.
Yeah, it was. We've called it that it was likely going to be some sort of upset. Very well could have happened. Daytona. This weekend, the upset to look at is Eric Jones that everybody is talking about randomly. This is one of his best tracks.
Former winner of this race. So
yeah, and he's raced well here all the time. So that one is definitely one to look at for this weekend. We'll talk about it in a second. But another big, I guess, kind of upset. He's been racing pretty well this year, though, in the 20 car. Ryan Truex gets the win at Daytona in the Xfinity Series.
That's his second win this year, isn't it? Or is it?
I think so. I think it is his second win.
Yeah.
And his brothers never won at Daytona, so I guess it might be a little bit jealous there. So I don't know if Truex has ever won Xfinity in Daytona, but definitely not Cup. But I think it was the Cup Series race, the way the stages were broken down, and I guess maybe they brought a different package. I don't know, but the racing was actually way better than any of the other speedway racing this year. Yes, they were 2 and 3 wide, but they were actually making moves to pass instead of just conserving fuel the entire time. There was a lot of aggressive racing. It was kind of an old school type of Daytona race that we've come accustomed to, probably more like the 90s and early 2000s type Daytona. So I think it was a successful weekend for both races. And
yeah, they set a record for lead changes. Now, I wonder if it has to do with, okay, it's 100 miles shorter than the Daytona 500 in Talladega. So, like those races, they were running around, just part throttle trying to save fuel.
Well, it has to do with
Did they not have to do it just because of where the stage breaks were? Or?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The way they had the stage breaks, I think it worked out in the favor of being more aggressive.
They should not tell them when stage breaks are.
And just we
there's
talked
be
about
one
that
sometime, but we don't have to tell you when.
that's one thing SRX did really good. It was a kind of like almost a competition caution or whatever, randomly spread out through the race. That, or you break down 500-mile races into 4 stages instead of 3, and then you have shorter stages for these plate races, or whatever you want to call them now. That would be a lot better than what we saw at Daytona 500 and at Talladega. But this was a really good race. It really was. I haven't
I
usually
stayed
gone.
awake for the whole thing. That's surprising.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, me too. And I had a fire going out in the backyard because it wasn't 1,000 degrees once the sun finally went down. It was nice. All right. Well, there's a lot of news that happened in NASCAR this week, mainly the schedule that was released. The schedule for 2025 was officially released today as we're recording this. And the highlights of that for the NASCAR Cup Series, they are going to Mexico City. So,
That's dumb.
hola, mis amigos. We are going to Mexico. That was the most white way to say anything in Spanish. I don't know how it'll be. They've raced there, I think, in Xfinity Series before.
so.
It's been decent. It's decent races. Trying to draw more of a crowd. I get where they're going. It's the first race that will be on Prime Video next year. So Dale Jr. will be calling that race with other people. I don't even know if they confirmed anybody else yet. But I don't know. I've got mixed feelings about it. I know where they should have went, and it should have been Rockingham for the Cup Series, but at least we're getting Rockingham coming back for the Xfinity and the Truck Series, and that's what highlights that as well. And they're slowly going back to roots racing here. You have Bowman Gray for the Clash, and you've got Rockingham coming back for the Xfinity and Trucks. And I kind of expected that to happen as they were like, all right, let's see how these races go, and then we'll bring the Cup Series, kind of like what they've done with a lot of tracks before.
And Rockingham it doesn't hold a whole lot of people, so if they draw a pretty good crowd, for these races, they'll probably have to bring in some seating. And now I wonder, and if NASCAR is smart, they'll do whatever they can do to get Dale Jr. to run the Xfinity race for Rockingham.
Probably,
because he'd probably even want to run that.
Yeah, yeah, I'd expect him to at least try to put his. I mean, well, the 88's taken next year, so what car is he gonna race? The 8, maybe?
I don't know.
Because the 8, I think he officially will have the trademark font back because I think Teresa's giving up the font finally after 25 years or whatever.
Yeah, that was a lapse on their part. They forgot to renew the trademark.
Yeah, well, now if I were Kelly, I'd be like, all right, that's ours now.
Yeah, they probably did.
Yeah, they haven't announced anything, but it won't surprise me. But my question for this week, this is the first race since 1958 that the NASCAR Cup Series is going to race a points-paying race outside of the United States. What was that track in 1958? Or you can at least tell me which country.
My guess it has to be Canada.
It was Canada. Do you happen to know the track?
That I do not.
All right, I have it pulled up. I had it pulled up. There it is. The Canadian National Exposition Speedway. Apparently, that was a very popular track back in the 50s and 60s.
Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't look like they've ever done one in Mexico for the Cup Series for a points-paying race. So this will be interesting. So actually, for our top 5 for next week, let's already preview what I want to do because it ties into this as well. Or maybe not even top 5, just in general, a list. Let's list the tracks and countries that we want to see the Cup Series race at now that they're going to Mexico. Which other tracks / countries should they go to?
Tracks other than the United States, I'm guessing.
Other than the United States. Outside the United States. So that might take
a little research on that one.
Yeah, I know I'm pretty sure there's some stuff out in Japan because they've raced the IROCs back over there.
Well, they used to race the Cup cars out there.
Oh, in the exhibition type races. Yeah. So there's stuff there. There's stuff in Canada still. There's all sorts of stuff in Europe. They have NASCAR Canada now. So I'm sure there's some race tracks we can look at. So we will look at that next week. Y'all let us know which countries / tracks you would like to see the Cup Series race a point-paying race at. Let's give our power rankings and then our fantasy.
Power rankings. Whoops. My bad.
Well, go ahead and do that while I talk about this. And I didn't really change it up much because it was Daytona, and it's hard to really change anything up because you're going to end up in a wreck likely at Daytona. But I did move one person out and one person in. So at number 5, I took William Byron out of my power rankings and I put in Brad Keselowski, mainly because he had a good run at Daytona and he's heading into a track where he just won in the spring. So put Brad Keselowski at number 5 heading into Darlington. Number 4, I have Ryan Blaney still. Number 3, I have Tyler Reddick. Keep them the same. Number 2, I actually moved Denny Hamlin down 1 because number 1 driver, Kyle Larson, and he finished the race rather than Denny finishing the race. That's the only reason I changed those 2 up. But look for all 5 of them to race well at Darlington. And Darlington, the lady in black, like we know, with the egg shape because of the swamp that was built. We don't need to go back to the whole background with Darlington again. But it's going to be a slick track to start off with, and it's going to have a lot of grip that comes into as the night moves on. It'll be how you can manage the track, how you can manage the tires. The tires, it's almost grading on sandpaper, so you might have about 25, 30 laps on tires, and then your car is going to
especially
be
being
toast.
hot.
Yep. You about ready for your power rank? Because I stalled as much as I could.
Yeah, so we'll put it number 5, and this is just because of last week. Hey, he was right place, right time. He won the race. Harrison Burton, let's put him in the top 5 this week. I doubt he's going to be in next week, but shoot, you never know. So at number 4, I actually moved Ryan Blaney down 1 to number 4. Tyler Reddick, I moved him up 1, number 3. I have Denny Hamlin down 1 to number 2, and I did put Larson back up to number 1. Larson was good. The car was fast. He could be leading, and he'll crash at that track. It's just that's not his fault.
No.
How many times he crashed? 3? It seemed like.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, heading into our fantasy for Darlington. So as everybody remembers, Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher were really, really fast, and Tyler Reddick was also really fast in the spring. I think it was Tyler Reddick, right, that he and Chris Buescher got into it, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
And who knows what to expect here. You got previous Southern 500 winners like Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. is always good here. William Byron's always good here. A guy outside looking in, Kyle Busch, you got to consider him as well because he has to win.
They have found some speed the last few weeks. I think maybe
they have.
Too late.
Even Kyle was like not completely demoralized after the race either. I mean, he didn't even like completely get pissed off about the whole situation. He's like, that's really. He was like, it was Daytona. Like he's like, what do you? He's like, we've at least been fast.
Yeah,
that was good at the very, very least. So. But it's an extra 100 miles in the spring, and that is huge at Darlington, and it does take a toll on you, especially long green flag runs. Yes. But at least it ends in the nighttime, so that's at least better on the drivers. Still going to be hot as hell. So I'm going all out on this regular season finale. I don't know if our fantasy carries into the playoffs. I think it does, but if it doesn't, and I had to go with a bunch of bums this week, I'd be pissed. So screw it. I'm going big names this week.
Me too.
And I took the lead last week, so let's try to like almost play a little bit of defense as well. Play
I'm
offense and play defense.
I had no choice but to.
Yeah, well, I am swinging for the damn fences this week. I've got Kyle Larson, bam. Denny Hamlin, bam. I've actually put Kyle Busch in because he has to win, and I think he's going to drive the absolute ever-living dog shit out of that car. Martin Truex Jr., another one, really good at Darlington. And Tyler Reddick, good at Darlington. And you know what? Just in case somebody wants to suck for me in my garage, I have Joey Logano.
Okay.
So you know what? Let's go with it. Now, okay. Now the matchups, they're getting a little too like, come on now. They have Harrison Burton versus Carson Hocevar. Listen, I know Harrison won last week, but that was anybody could win type track. No, he's not going to be in front of Carson. He's been better on all these type of tracks. Carson Hocevar over Harrison Burton. Bubba Wallace versus Ross Chastain. People forget Ross Chastain's pretty dang good at Darlington. He's good at wrecking people at Darlington as well. So I got Ross Chastain over Bubba Wallace. Martin Truex Jr. over versus Ty Gibbs. I'll just preview that. Martin Truex Jr. over Ty Gibbs on this one. I think experience goes a long way. This is Truex's last Southern 500. He wants to go out with a solid finish. Obviously, he wants to win, but he's going to race pretty well, I think, in this one. Chris Buescher versus Kyle Busch. I just think Kyle Busch has got the motivation right now to finish better. I mean, Chris has also got to not suck to make it. I think either he's 16th, he think he's just ahead of Bubba Wallace, if I'm not mistaken, in the playoff points. So he's got to do well too. But I think I think it's a good chance Kyle Busch even wins this thing, and that would just shake up the playoffs like crazy. I think it would be a heck of a regular season finale. But the hot picks, I mean, come on. Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski's a hot pick. I was going to put him, but I didn't. So that was a great story. Ryan Blaney's avoiding. Again, when you say avoid Ryan Blaney, I don't really buy into all of that. He's still one of the better drivers. I think he still gets in the top 10. The sleeper, we talked about it a little bit earlier, Eric Jones. And that was it on that because I thought there was more to scroll through. There wasn't. So go ahead with yours.
So like you, I went all in. So I have Tyler Reddick, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, and in the garage, I have Christopher Bell. So in our matchups, I have Carson Hocevar over Harrison Burton. I picked Bubba Wallace over Ross, Martin Truex over Ty Gibbs, and I have Chris Buescher over Kyle Busch.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens this week. I can't believe I won by like a huge margin at Daytona. I had never won like that.
Last time they ran Daytona, I had 80 points. So this time I had 120. I did a little better.
Yeah, you and Mom had about the.
I had Harrison Burton in my garage and forgot to take him out.
Did I put my garage in and I crashed, or I was like, it's kind of pointless? Wait, I think I had Gilliland and McDowell, and I was like, well, I could substitute one or the other, and they both, I think, ended up crashing, so it wouldn't have mattered. All right, let's give our picks for the winning picks for NASCAR at the Southern 500. Well, Darlington the whole weekend. So let's start with the Xfinity race, which is half the length of the Southern 500, whatever the sponsor is, Billy Bob's Grill 250 or something. I don't know. But who is your pick for the Xfinity series?
We're going to go with experience on this one. I got Justin Allgaier.
I got experience on this one. He's running a doubleheader this weekend. He's in the 1700cars.com this weekend. He's got a little Napa logo as well. I've got Chase Elliott for the Xfinity race. All right, your pick for the Southern 500.
So it's funny. I don't have him in my fantasy, but I picked Martin Truex Jr. Last one comes out with the win. Mom's pick is Chase Elliott.
All right. Well, my pick, it's not going to be a new winner. It's not going to be a new Southern 500 winner either. To end the regular season with a bang, I've got Denny Hamlin.
Okay.
No, I ain't jinxing him.
Well, Hamlin lost that win that he had at somewhere because
he's
technicality, which
yep. So that extra win would go over huge. He cannot win the regular season championship. It really comes down to two people for the regular season. It's Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson. So that is also a battle to be watching. I think it's like a 17-point difference or something.
I didn't know what the point
it's
was.
close. It's really close. So it should be interesting to see.
But you got to remember, Kyle Larson missed the whole race.
Yeah. So if he ends up, even him being in this position is pretty incredible. So if he would have raced in the Coke 600, he would probably be the regular season champion.
Yeah,
very likely.
Which is huge. That's a 15-point playoff thing. I think it's 10 per second, but
yeah. But I mean, if you win each round, who cares? You're going to get into the top four. So how about you just win each round and get to the final four?
Yeah, it still takes a little pressure off.
Yeah. All right. Well, IndyCar. Let's get into that. At Portland, Will Power wins, and he dominated with led flag to flag. I think it's 2 weeks in a row we've seen a flag to flag in IndyCar. It wasn't a bad race by any means. It's not like they go out and lead.
No, he was only like right there. Yeah, I saw the end like half a second ahead. I mean, it was
pit strategies, which tires, soft or harder tires they ran, at which times. But now the championship is really shaking up. It's going to come down to likely Alex Palou and Will Power now, and I would not have guessed Will Power to be
Probably
even in
not.
championship contention. So
You know,
it's
Will's definitely getting towards the end of his career. You know, he's getting up there in age, but he's still running good.
I mean, so Scott Dixon, and he still won
True.
championship like 2 years ago or something. But yeah, so they are heading to Milwaukee. They're back on a doubleheader weekend for an oval. And I think this will be similar to the Gateway race that we saw. It would be similar handling.
A little
I think
slower.
a little slower, but still significantly faster than the other, like the NASCAR going there.
Oh yeah.
Uh, uh, oh yeah, and they just raced at Milwaukee for the Truck Series, and a guy dislocated his shoulder because he celebrated too hard. That was pretty cool. I don't know if you saw that, but that was pretty badass.
I did
Anyway,
not
shout out
see
to
it.
that guy. That was pretty awesome. I was like, that would be Michael. Uh, but doubleheader at Milwaukee. I believe it's Saturday and Sunday. I don't know if one of them's a nighttime. I think Saturday might be nighttime, and then Sunday afternoons,
It
generally
could
what they
be.
seem to do. Uh, we already talked about what Milwaukee is. It's the Milwaukee Mile. Hard to really preview any more of that. It's a more of a worn down. Is it a concrete track?
I don't believe it is.
Okay, it's just a more worn out
It's
surface.
just it's flat. You know,
Yeah,
just a regular old mile oval. But with the Indy cars being flat and all the
those are good
downforce they have,
races.
it actually makes pretty good racing.
Yeah, those are good races. I like. We talked about which tracks we want IndyCar to go to, and I mentioned New Hampshire. And I think that would be a really good race for them to go to. So, all right. Well, without further ado, let's give our picks for Milwaukee. Night one, night two, or day one, day two.
So I'm going with the Scots this weekend. So Saturday race, I have Scott Dixon. Sunday, I have Scott
Scott.
McLaughlin.
All right. Well, I've got the two championship favorites and leaders of the points right now. My first night, I've got Alex Palou. And the second night, I do have Will Power. And I think the championship will be really interesting then. All right. And all four series next up is NHRA, and all four series are back in action. They are at Indy, the home center of a lot of these teams. Definitely Tony Stewart, home track for him.
Most all the top fuel
Hmm.
teams are based
Yep.
out of there. And this
There's a
is,
couple here.
this is the US Nationals. This is their Daytona 500. This is their Indy 500. This is their Super Bowl.
Yeah. That's why you got it behind you.
That's why I put that one on. That's the biggest race of the weekend.
Yeah, it's so is this what makes this one their biggest one?
Uh, you know what? I don't know how came out to be, but it just ended up being, I guess, mainly because it is Indy and it just has all the prestige. And now they have it. I believe this each round is worth 1.5 times the points, so you can actually make up or lose a lot of time. And I believe this is the last one. Is this the last one before their countdown, which starts at Charlotte?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Charlotte is the next race, and we hopefully will at least get to one of the days, whether it's the practice day or the qualifying,
Hopefully.
depending on rain, because that seems to always get in our way. Um, but yeah, this it's still hard to pick any of these drivers. They
I'm going on my theory. I'm going for upsets this week.
I'm kind of going well, not
And
a
it's going to be funny because when my pro stock motorcycle, it's hard to believe this is going to be an upset, but
Oh my God, you're going with someone not him. That's
yeah,
crazy.
no, this as far as I know, well, motorcycle may have won this year, but nobody else has won.
Well, let's go dive right into it and give our NHRA picks. You know what? Let me start off because I want the suspense for your motorcycle to kind of
Okay.
build up. If anybody's wondering if there's a giant dinosaur in mine, yeah, it's Dinoco, by the way. So it has something to do with racing. Anyways, shout out Cars and Pixar. Pro stock motorcycle. Oh my God, pro stock motorcycle. I can't speak at all. I don't know what language that was. I've got Gage Herrera. I'm still gonna just, you know what? I'm going easy picks there. Pro stocks. About 5, 6 drivers I can pick from. I'm going Dallas Glenn on pro stocks. Funny car and top view. There's a theme here. So for funny car, I've got Matt Hagan and my top fuel to get his first win. Finally, Tony Stewart in Indy. So Tony Stewart
That wouldn't
swing
be
for the top
popular
fuel.
for nothing.
That would there'd be a lot of alcoholic beverages drunk. All right, go ahead with yours.
All right. So all four of mine, what I would consider upsets for this year at least. So in Pro Stock Motorcycle, like I said, hard to believe it's an upset. Matt Smith gets the win.
All right, shout out to Team Scrappers.
Pro Stock, Mason McGahey gets his win. I don't know if he's ever won or not.
You've been
In
running
Funny
good.
Car, I have Alexis DeJoria.
Wow.
I told you we're going for, and in Top Fuel, we agree on this one. Got Tony Stewart getting his first win.
I feel like if he does win, there might be a little bit of conspiracy behind it, but to get his first
You
one.
know what?
He's been fast. He's been consistently getting better.
Other than maybe having the car a little weight, I don't know what else you would do, because if they don't go down the track, they don't go down the track. So it's
Well, he's not the biggest guy that's out of there, because you got Matt Hagen's buff ass in Funny Car. So if they could figure out how to get his ass down the track, I think they could figure out Tony.
Tony's been running better.
Yeah.
It took a little while.
All right. Our final two series that we're going to get into: High Limit and Outlaws. High Limit, basically the recap basically the High Limit, everybody, the only thing everybody's got to realize is that Corey Day is really freaking good, and he's won a lot of races recently. So, and he had the biggest payout in his entire career. Damn good. Sunshine had a close second yesterday, last night, and there was a new winner last night in the High Limit series as well. It was a local guy. I can't
Trey Starks.
Starks, yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Yep, local guy. That was all. I did
let
watch
every lap.
Highlights. That was awesome.
Led every lap, but it was Tyler
He
Courtney
was contested. They were right.
Tyler Courtney threw some sliders, and it didn't stick on the final turn. I didn't even expect Tyler Courtney to get even that close to him in the final corner, and it just didn't quite stick enough for him to finish that pass. And the crowd was pretty excited about that too.
I mean, that's the equivalent of the posse beating the Outlaws when they come in. Even if the fans don't cheer for that kid on the regular basis, they're all local boy fans.
And we didn't even preview that one yesterday, but it was a really good race. They've raced a lot these last couple of weeks, which likely
they got 4 nights in a row. They had that race, and then we got 3 in a row at Skagit.
Yeah. Where is Skagit though? At least give that. Do you know where that is?
I forget.
Well,
remember, I had to look up how to pronounce it.
Well, it was either Skagit or Skagit, but I think it's Skagit.
It's pronounced Skagit.
Yeah.
At least according to Wikipedia.
It's
in Alger, Washington.
Okay, so they're still out west. I figured they still were, just to make it easier on these teams, but 3 nights, and I think the final night's a pretty big payday. If I'm not mistaken, usually if they have a 3-night event, the final night is going to be pretty big.
It's almost in Canada,
Well, there we go.
It's way up there. That's about as far north as you're going to get for a speedway. Well, I don't know about North Dakota.
Well, well, I don't think it's even as north as that, because North Dakota, I think that might be more of like a central North Dakota-ish.
It's up there.
The one to look at for this, because it's pretty much as home track as he can get, is Casey Kane. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to win, but expect him to be running pretty well here.
We kind of thought that at the track in Oregon, and he got lapped a couple times there. He was really bad.
Yeah, I think he had a good night last night, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had a top 10. So he's kind of hit or miss on top 10s and top 5s. So randomly, you'll see kind of like randomly you'll see the North Pole Nightmare like win a race at the Outlaws, and then all of a sudden he's 25th. So it's one of those. But all right, let's just give all 3 picks at Skagit, Canada. Oh yeah, almost Canada. Night 1, night 2, night 3. Just go down the line.
Night 1 got second. I got Sunshine Tyler Courtney.
Son of a bitch.
Night 2, this guy is probably as far away as you could get from being home track. James McFadden.
Son of a bitch.
And Saturday I got Corey Day.
Oh my God. There's no way. Oh my God.
Oh. No, we did not rehearse this ahead of time.
No, because you can clearly tell with my reaction. Damn. Okay, that's my picks right here. Well, I don't know if James McFadden, that's the furthest he can get away from his track. I think if you go
around the world the opposite way, maybe.
Probably the East Coast is further away than any of the other tracks. Damn it. There's no way. I don't remember what my picks were at Outlaw at Houston, so I made all new picks. So we're getting into the World of Outlaws.
Yeah,
because I'm pissed now. Picks. I don't even remember what I had. I thought I had written down, but I can't find it. Well, this is the last 3 nights that were completely flooded at Husets. Still high paying, over $1 million purse once again, still going to pay out huge. So this is the perfect weekend for them to have this rain makeup. I think they did that on purpose to have a Labor Day rain makeup. So 3 races remain for the Husets High Banks. I don't know how they're going to do all the points, if they're going to requalify, probably just re-time trial and do all of that.
I'm going to assume it's a whole new show.
So. I would think so. So we've already previewed it. Really cool track, really awesome what they've done. They've really revamped it up. And
yeah, very nice track. Little bull ring. It's little track, all that money. That's going to be good hard racing.
And they sponsored the championship favorite right now, so and that goes over big too. All right, well, let's just give our picks. I'm going first because damn it, I swear. Right. My night 1 at Houston this weekend, I've got Sheldon Haudenschild. There's no way you have the second one, though. My night 2, this guy kind of almost like a little bit of hit or miss, but he's McFadden's teammate, Buddy Kofoid.
Okay, no, we don't have the same
thank
one.
God. There was no way. And my last night, we probably have the same one here. I've got David Gravel for the night 3 because at Husets, sponsored by Husets, let's go David Gravel. Okay, at least that one doesn't line up perfect.
All right. Well, sorry, Sheldon. I do have you for night 1 Friday night. Saturday, I have Carson Macedo. And Sunday, I have Gio Scelzi.
Okay. All right. Well, at least we're different in the World of Outlaws. Oh, my God. We've never...
4 out of the 6.
3 in a row. Especially the James McFadden pick. I'm like...
Right. And I almost did put Buddy Kofoid in for Saturday.
Well, I had Gravel at least. But, all right. Well, like I said, we're going to do the 5... or whatever tracks we can find, the list tracks outside of the U.S. that we want to see NASCAR to have a points-paying race on. I mean, I don't want to see that, but if there were going to do any, yeah, then why not? Hypothetical type things. So let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you think about all of our crazy predictions and definitely coincidences that we had. So on especially High Limit. High Limit's actually racing as we're speaking. And so, all right, make sure you follow anywhere you get your podcast, anywhere you get your social media. I post a bunch of stuff on there. Post a couple of the NASCAR bets, the best bets for the week 2. I've almost hit on a bunch of them. And that's a lot of my betting is almost. It's quite a lot.
We're going to call you almost.
Yeah, I have hit on NASCAR one before. So in case everyone was wondering, yes, I have won before. And Dad just went blank, so if that goes anything, the show is now over. So make sure you like and subscribe. See you guys next week.